Hello, everybody. My name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. And today I have the awesome pleasure of speaking with Sass Wolgers, actor, filmmaker, among many other things, outdoor enthusiast, and we'll all get into that in the time that we spend with him today. So, welcome to the show, Sass, and how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, I am doing good. It's actually quite a good summer day here in Stockholm now. And I was at my parents' house earlier today in Strängnäs, small town outside Stockholm, and me and my friend could play a little bit football. And it's been a bad summer here, so I'm happy for the weather today.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. I know. We've had a lot of rain and kind of unpredictable weather with a lot of storms and flooding where I am here in upstate New York State in the USA. And yeah, well, we're just starting to get back to a little bit of humid weather with the heat. So yeah. So
Exactly.
in Sweden, does it get besides like whenever it gets hot, do you have the humidity along with it where you can just feel the moisture hanging in the air?
Yeah, so because it's extremely cold for half a year, and so during when the spring comes, everybody gets out to go to clothes. So very many people lives in the hot countries all the time think that Scandinavian people are a little bit crazy because even if it's 12, 13, 14 degrees outside and a little bit of sun, everybody just runs out and take a swim. And so we live for the summer and we wake up and people start getting social. But this summer has been very rough actually, and it's whole July and August until now. Basically, it has been raining all the time and it's
Oh,
been
wow.
cold and
Oh, wow.
cloudy. We actually have beautiful summers with sun rain, but it's still, so it's been rough holidays for many people. They
Oh,
haven't
yeah, yeah. I know. I was just
can't
going to
do so
say
much.
that when I was there in Stockholm this past February for the North
Yeah,
Film International Film Festival, which was the very first time that I met you and did an on-the-fly talk show interview at the film festival venue before I left for Stockholm. I kind of Googled and wanted to know ahead of time what the weather was like in Sweden, Stockholm in particular. And so I wanted to know how to dress, so what to wear. And
yeah,
I Googled it, and it's like you in the winter time, you basically have the same temperatures that we do, like the same amount of snow. And when I arrived there a day or two before the festival, uh, the climate seemed just the same. So what I did is I packed in my luggage the same type of clothes that I wear here at home, and I didn't have to even think about what to pack. Sometimes you go somewhere and it's like shorts or shirt sleeves, or of course this was in the winter, and that was the beautiful part about it. Stockholm was exactly like us here where I live with the winter temperatures. So it's like, well, open up the drawers in my chest of drawers and just transfer my clothes from my chest of drawers into the luggage, and away I went. So it was a
but
no-brainer to pack this that time. So
yes,
no,
but it's actually quite surprising because New York State is so much south of Sweden on the globe.
yes.
So it's actually, you think about it as very much hotter. And when I've been to New York, it's very much more hotter.
Oh,
Even I
yes.
was there
Oh, yeah.
October, November, and yeah, it's like yeah, the climate is more comfortable
Yeah, yeah.
there. But maybe February it's the same or something. Yeah.
I think that probably was the case since it was February. Probably the winter weather was sort of on an even keel between New York and Sweden. Yeah, well,
Yeah, and that's very because the days that you were here and all the other guys who visited Sweden and Stockholm for the film festival,
uh-huh.
that was actually a very rough weekend because it was extremely cold. That week was minus 10 degrees, and I remember you and I and all the other, we were like a group of 7 8 people walking around in Stockholm, and it was so
It
cold,
was.
and especially for you guys, because you were dressed good but the other ones were dressed lightly, and I wanted to show you like, I promise Stockholm have good party life, and you also guys wanted to go to a club, and I wanted to show you the Stockholm club, and we went to place to
Yeah, yeah,
place
yeah,
to
yeah.
place, and every place like closed, and it was 12 or 1 p.m.
I know it.
in the
I know it. I know it. So,
and it was crazy. We never arrived to something, and it was in the middle of the south of Stockholm. And
yeah.
I know that it's good bars, and then I remembered that part of Stockholm is just like two clubs, and all of you guys think like Stockholm sucks. It's no party life, and it's, oh, I need to show you Stockholm
That's
is
right.
good, but
That's right.
I
I got to,
couldn't.
you're right. I got to prove these guys wrong, right? I got to show them the town, right? And you did, yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, we did end up finally finding that one place, and uh, I think we were only there maybe a little while, and then it closed.
yeah.
I
We
don't know
ended
what
up
time
drinking
it,
beer, like three of us. Like the rest of the people were too cold and lost the patience, and just, oh, we take a cab back to the hotel,
no, no,
and
yeah,
then was just three of us left.
that's right, that's right. Yeah, like they say, and then there were three. Then the hardiest of them was left, the three. The triumvirate, the three. Yeah, yeah. So
Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
no, that was really good time. Thank you for the tour and showing us all around Stockholm and what it's all got to offer. And I'll definitely be back there again. I mean, you got to know that. I mean, once isn't enough. I've got to experience it again. So you'll have to be our tour guide again come next year. So so
Yeah.
yeah. What I usually like to do is like my guests, I look on their Instagram and Facebook profile pages, kind of get an idea of what they do and things that they're involved in. And I noticed that on your Instagram page that you list that you're fighting trolls, you're freeing princesses, and killing werewolves, and that's a living. So I wasn't sure what you were referring to, whether it was your life or the roles that you play in either film or stage. So could you tell us a little bit about the mystery behind all of that?
Yeah, it's fun because that's a Swedish quotation that I got from the most famous and the best author of maybe all times in Sweden, called August Strindberg, and that is one quote that he said maybe in one of her of his writings for himself, or in one of his plays, or because he wrote over 60 plays during his lifetime, and so it was actually pretty good translation into English that you refer to now because it's on Swedish.
Hmm.
So the quote is, I understand that it's a little bit mysterious. You just see it and like, what?
Yeah, it's
And
like
but
what's going on here,
exactly. But I think it's a beautiful quote because it means a lot of things. For once, I think that August Strindberg meant, like, in order to live and in order to live a life that you will remember and is good, you have to get your adventure right, and
Oh,
and
sure,
that
sure,
quote
sure.
is the adventure of living on the edge in a good way, and you can you know you can take it as the roles playing in film, movies, or plays, or just the person you are in your life and how you're acting in the life as well.
Yeah,
And so it's a little bit of a metaphorical quote, and I think it's very beautiful. So I put it on my Instagram bio, only that, and there's people
yeah,
can take it
yeah.
however they want. But I think it's a little bit.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a beautiful quote because you know when you read the quote, it kind of gets you to thinking about different things and yeah, and like you say, you know, you have to have adventures in life and like an old phrase goes something like all work and no play is dull. You know, you have to have have a little excitement and like you were saying, adventure in your life. So that no, that's a good thing to have on your Instagram page to kind of introduce to people. I mean, who you are, you know, and you know your outlook on life before they start looking at all your individual posts. So yeah, you know, when I first read that, I says, now I says, I thought I knew Sass. I says, what is he talking about? I gotta ask him. I says, you know, I spent a good amount of time with you and everyone else there in Stockholm, and it says, geez, I thought I knew the guy. Now he comes out with this. You know, what's he talking about? I says, if I ask him anything on my show, I says the first question I have to ask him is what the quote's about.
Oh,
So
yeah.
no, so yeah, thank you for explaining
Yeah,
it
it's a
to
little
me.
bit mysterious.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's always good to have a little bit of mystery, right? I mean, you know,
Of course.
yeah, yeah. Um, I've also noticed on your Facebook page or Facebook profile page. Now, correct me if I get the pronunciations wrong, but it says that your hometown is Lokstrand. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Lökstrand. Yeah.
Oh, Lokstrand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lokstrand, and then it says Finnmark. Is is Finnmark like a region in Norway?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like it's a fylke. They call it in Norway fylke, and I think it's one of the fylke in Norway, if I'm
Okay,
remember it
so is
correctly.
that say would
Or a
that be
community.
like an equal meaning like in the United States? Like if you're from a state, you're from the USA, but like me, I'm from New York State. So is Finnmark say like a region of Norway, say like New York State is a region of
Yeah,
USA? Oh, okay.
exactly. Like exactly. In Sweden we have landskap, landscape. It's a bad translation, but in Norway they call them fylke. And
Yeah.
if I remember it correctly, Finnmark is a fylke, or it is the um, community that the town Lökstrand is in within.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Okay.
I am not quite sure,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
think it's a region.
Yeah. Yeah. See, like here in the US, say like in well, in every state in the US, you have your state, which is like the overall region, like your Finnmark is, and then like
Mm.
within the state, we have it's further subdivided like into counties, and they're further just subdivided into towns, and then you get
Yeah,
villages and cities. So yeah, it's basically the
yeah, it's like
same. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Mm.
so since that's your hometown, and now you reside, you were saying outside of Stockholm, in the Stockholm area. Um, what was the reason that you moved from Norway to Sweden to pursue your like your acting, filmmaking?
Yeah, so I actually have to tell you about this whole Lökstrand thing because I'm actually not from Norway. Actually not from Finnmark or Lökstrand because I have that on my Facebook page
Uh-huh.
because my older brother he pranked me like a few years ago. It was so it's just a prank because it was like a prank for maybe did it 10 or 15 years ago because we always have a phrase that we have said very much in our family and in our community that was
Yeah.
very big and we use that has with onion to do. In Sweden we say lök, and it's like something is lökigt, like and that is something who is a little bit like I have to do or a little bit painful, but a little bit, but it can also be a little bit fun, but it's a but in a dizzy way. A person can actually be lökig as well, like you are lökig.
Uh-huh.
But you know, you like persons who are lucky, yeah, because
Oh yeah.
they're nice
Yeah.
people, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So we use that all the time, and because of we have that joke and tell the word of luck or lucky so much, he just get into my, you know, Facebook page and change the location I was born, and you know, I haven't
Oh,
changed it since because I just forgotten, and then just it's a fun joke. But
oh.
so
So
people actually think I'm from Norway as you did, so I
yeah,
understand you.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Love
glad
it.
you straightened that out. Yeah, so this joke that your brother did there with your Facebook, did he happen to get your password somehow so he could get into your account and mess around in there or what?
No, actually, I think he went into my phone and did
Oh,
it
okay.
without me noticing. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, okay.
unfortunately,
Here's a bit of advice from now on, Sass. From now on, hang on to your phone for dear life so your brother doesn't get a hold of it and do those things on your Facebook anymore.
yes, I will.
uh, so yeah, so now that you're in Stockholm area in Sweden, so was it before you moved to Sweden that you became interested in filmmaking and acting? Because I'm kind of curious how you got into the filmmaking
Yeah,
and the acting.
yeah, for sure. So I am from Sweden, but I am born in a very little community with 500 inhabitants in Gästrikland. The little village is called Stefanebo because in the 90s my parents stayed there and for a long time, and my older brothers grew up there the first years, and I grew up there like the first 2 years of my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then they wanted to move, and my dad got job very close to this very beautiful town, Strängnäs, that is my hometown that
Okay.
I have grown up since I was 2 to 18. So I lived there basically my whole life, and
Okay. Okay.
so that is located in the landscape of Sörmland, and it's 1 hour drive to Stockholm. It's 45 minutes train to Stockholm,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
know my grandmother lives in Stockholm. My brother have lived there for a long time. My dad works in Stockholm. So you know, if you live in Strängnäs, it's not a, you know, it is not a part of Stockholm,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
not a part of big Stockholm as well. It's another city, but it's a little small, beautiful little city with a great, beautiful church. Who is He has a very, very cool history because
Hmm.
the first Swedish king, you know, was elected in Strängnäs at the church 500 years ago, and this year we actually celebrated 500 years as a country, and it was enormous celebration in Strängnäs, and the king and the queen come, our prime minister come, and it was, you know, big party in our hometown. So that's where I'm from. So, but I actually moved in Stockholm just soon. It's 1 year ago.
Oh,
But
okay.
after high school, I went to two different places to study theater in Sweden. Who is in One is as we call in Sweden Folkhögskola, who is a very Swedish thing that we have, who is a school for adults, uh, uh, and that have very different, you know, aspects of thinking about educating people, who
Hmm.
is more
Hmm.
about the human part and about community, and you live there and you grow together and you can choose very many things to study, or you
Hmm.
can, you know, study up your grades from high school.
Hmm.
So we have, you know, over 150. My dad works with these kind of schools and had done it all his life, and it's wonderful thing we have in Sweden.
Hmm.
And
So,
so I went there for 1.5 years, and you know, moved out when I was 18 to go 5 hours down, and actually it's outside the town that my mom, was raised,
Oh, okay.
partly time of
Okay.
her where she grew up and went to
Mhm.
high school in the west of Sweden. So that was very beautiful experience the first time I moved out, and it was a lot of things that changed, and I
Right,
learned
right, right, right,
more about myself, and
right. So
first
you,
love,
yeah,
very much stuff happened, and then I moved to another small town. So this was a little village, very little village I lived in, and then I moved to another small town in also the west of Sweden, but a little bit north. There was another school that I went to, and then I moved to Stockholm. So yeah,
yeah. So
so
yeah, I mean, it's nice that you have all that different parts of your family around wherever you move to. So yeah, at least you had family around that kind of could support your goals in life for your performing and so you really didn't get into acting until, like you were mentioning, you were like 18 when you moved out of the house. Did you ever do like any acting when you say like were smaller, like in the early years of your education,
yes,
like
yes.
school
So
like school plays or anything like that?
yes, so I actually started doing theater when I was 14. So, but like a few months before that, my my two best friends, and one of my best friend had decided to go to Stockholm for an audition, and he just asked me and my other friend, like, "Yeah, do you guys want to join?" And we joined. We're three best friends who grew up, next to each other, and we
Right.
joined. So that autumn was like my first audition for a big movie, and I actually, get a few steps on that. I get like a few callbacks. I maybe was
Oh,
there
really?
three,
Wow.
four times, and
Right.
was 14, and like, this is fun. And I have, with my friends, we have done movies since we were small. So, but the
Oh, okay.
movies started to getting better and more serious, and then
Okay.
suddenly it's you know created
Yeah.
to until it gets a production company,
Yeah.
and so the
So,
movies was always there. We have always done it, and somehow I was always the actor in those movies, um and the other, Jacob and Eric, and then Julius, did other things, and we helped each other with our best
right,
ability.
right, right.
And
So you,
so, but then I started theater as well, like a few months after that audition. And also, the same friend asked me, "Oh, don't you want to join? Join? We're doing the Jungle Book now,
oh
And I said,
boy.
okay, sure, sure. I was very into sports before I played football and handball for so long, and then I also played the drums. I was a very active kid, but then I got, yeah, I want to try theater, and
Oh
then I
wow.
thought
That's
it was
something
very
that I
fun.
always wanted to try. I absolutely love the drums, and that's something that
Mm,
that's something that's on my to-do list some days to learn how to play the drums there. I've always been a track, the beat and everything. I'm always listening to the
yeah.
beat and like music that comes on and everything. And
Mm.
I mean, more so than like any other instrument. Well, only second to like the guitar. But no, I like are the drums your favorite? Do you play like any other instruments besides the drums?
Yeah, so the drums was, I actually started very early to drums, and as you said, I really understand why you want to get into that, because the drums are amazing, and it's amazing because because the beat, as you said, and you really have the control. If you learn how to control, you really learn to control small parts of your body to make the movements lesser and lesser, but the drums is getting better and better.
Right,
you know
right, right,
so
right.
so it's very very much technique, and it feels very good when accomplish, you learn the new way of drumming. So I did it like once a week. I was very bad at practicing at home, so I never was interested in a band or something like that. My one of my brothers is a musician, and so he played a lot of bass and guitar and piano and had a band, early on. But I played the drums, and I liked it, but
Yeah.
I did it like
Yeah. So
once a week.
let me ask you, like,
Culture school.
Oh, all through school. Okay.
Yeah, so we have culture schools in Sweden that is wonderful, wonderful. That's why we have, in the music industry, we are like the third country very often on the list to sell most music per capita, because the States, then the Great Britain, UK, and then Sweden, because we actually call it in Sweden the Swedish music funder, because it's because we have so many institutions that support kids doing cultural activities as theater, music, and other stuff the early age for like no cost at all for the parents, so everybody can
Oh,
do it.
okay. Okay.
Amazing, yeah.
Okay. So if the parents can't afford to have their children have lessons in any particular instrument that they're interested in, then that is provided for them like free of charge, right? The parents don't have to pay for those lessons.
Yeah,
It's just provided for them then.
yeah, it's like it's very, very low cost. It's you pay for a semester at the school. Like in my hometown, you paid like $120 for
Mhm.
for 4 months of and then you get one lesson every week. So it's absolutely amazing
Yeah.
to follow. And we get the result, and that's why Sweden is so top at these things as music, for example. So
Yeah. 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 So
it really
let
pays.
me ask you, like with the drums, there's two types of grips. There's like the regular grip, and then they call the other one, I suppose you could say it's the traditional one. They call it the military grip instead of grabbing the sticks like that. One of them is like that, and one of them is like that. So which grip do you use? The military grip or like the straight grip like that?
Yeah, so I was in I used to do the ordinary grip for like when I played drums all the years, but some of the time I did the military grip because one of the years I was in drum corps, and
Oh,
I know
okay.
drum corps is big in the States, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Drum
Yeah,
competitions. Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, and that's amazing. We have very big, because my drum teacher Lasse Östlund in Strängnäs, he's like a hero in Strängnäs for so many. We have so many of the drummers from Strängnäs actually turning to professionals. We have one guy now who I know really well, called Axel Fagerberg, and he's actually touring with Sweden's biggest artist right now in Sweden, and he was teach at the same school and the same teacher as I had. So it's very amazing. And but he went to the States with a group from Strängnäs, more than one time for drum corps. They actually get the finance and get to the States to this drum corps competition. And I was in it for 1 year, and there you have to do the military group. You have to do it there because it gotta looks perfect, and I think it's mostly for the aesthetics more than the practical reasons. But when people play with the military grip, it sounds very good. So I don't know, but I think it's very hard, to get used to when you do this. It's very hard to get as good as you were
Yes.
doing the
Yeah.
ordinary. So
I often thought that too because like uh, uh, I mean, in addition, to drumming that way, like on the drum skins, then it's then you have the cymbals, and so to me, I don't know, my opinion, to me, it's a lot easier to reach the cymbals with both arms, like like that, instead of having one hand like that and the other. To me, it would be like extra difficult to do it with the military grip, and then also say like to do a drum roll, you know, around the drum kit like that, the snare drum and the tom tom and everything like that. To
Yeah.
me, it's a lot more difficult, like with the military grip. But
Yeah, yeah. When you have a drum kit, you can't barely do it. You have to have
yeah, yeah,
military because
yeah,
so many drums and the cymbals and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But I've
Yeah.
watched like different videos, like on YouTube, like if I Google, you know, drumming and the like a lot of old time famous drummers. This one from the U.S. years and years ago, his name was Buddy Rich, and he was
Mm,
like the best drummer of the times. I think it was maybe like in the 1950s or 1960s. That's when he was at that's you know when he was at his prime, you know, the top of his game, and
yeah.
it's like man, boy, he goes around those drum skin, and he used the military grip, and it's like uh, I think he can go even faster than anybody even today that just does it with the straight grip like that. I mean, it's just amazing the going around the drum skins and then the cymbals, and it's but yeah, I guess it just all the you know prefer is what you prefer, you know, what you prefer, how you like approach your drumming. So I guess everybody has their own preference. So, but to
Yeah,
me anyway, it's
yeah, it's a more casual way of playing, and it's more relaxed. It's more for drum corps and military drummers,
oh yeah,
to have it more strictly, and it looks very good. I appreciate those doing that, but yeah,
yeah,
it's more casual way of playing
yeah,
without it.
yeah, yeah. Well, aside from your music and drumming and love music and all of that, I noticed in one of your posts that your most recent short film that you produced called Obsession, and that starred you and Alina Lure, and that was in the nominated for the best Swedish short film at the North Film Festival in Stockholm, Sweden, this past
Yes.
February, where I met both you for the first time and Lena. And I have to add that I had both of you on separately on separate on the fly talk show interviews in between the film screen in between the
Yes,
film
and it was the
screen.
second time you met me.
Yes, yes, the second
You
time,
met me in
yeah.
Barcelona as well.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We keep following each other around the world, right? I mean, we're all
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly.
We're all yeah. I don't know whether we take the same plane and we're sitting in different seats and don't realize that we're going to the same film festival, and then oh, you're here. Oh, you're here, and I say yeah,
It's,
but
it
yeah.
just happens.
It just happens, you know. It's like what is it? Like they say, the stars aligned, and it's like meant to happen. It's like everything comes together, and it's meant to happen. And yeah, as a result of that, I was just wondering that film Obsession.
Yes.
What was your motivation for creating the film? And can you tell all of us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, Obsession was the first time another Brun production company that me, Eric, Jacob, and Julius, you met all the guys, they're
Yeah.
amazing. He's my friends as well. And when we work together, we do projects very sporadically, but when we do it, it's all in. It's all in. And Obsession, it was the first time we really felt like we wanted to do a short movie as a short movie, because we always think so big, and so we in all the film festivals and the competitions here in Sweden as well, it's always like 50 minutes limit for a short film, and we do
Mhm.
those films, but the films are like future films, if you really look at the films. But it's just 50 minutes. We make short films who is supposed to be future films, and
Mhm.
we wanted to sort that out and try different. So we wanted to try to do like a real short film, like take down uh, fewer characters for first, and lesser environments, and more straight red line in like the direction the movie is going, not so many apples
Oh,
going around.
without
So
cutting too many, without cutting away to too many different scenes, kind of trimming it down, streamlining it.
exactly, as so many short films are, some short films that you see at these festivals or in other places, it's just one guy sitting in one room and thinking and talking in the phone for 5 minutes, and then one woman walk in and they talk for 5 minutes, and then it's end. It's two characters, one
Right,
room,
right,
10
right,
minutes.
right.
And I don't say that short films is supposed to be like that, because you can do short films with more adventures and more crazy for 50 minutes, and it's good, as I think what we've done before is very, as we do it, and I think it's good. But we want to try, like, okay, like everybody does short film, like, yeah, like a really short film, can we do it, and like what is going to look like if we do it, and then we're starting the process of creating it. And it ended up being this movie about obsession, as the name says. So
Mhm.
the film Obsession is really about, um, you know, you meet this girl and this boy, and they meet at place, as a coincidence. They're not meant to meet, but they meet again and
Mhm.
again
Mhm.
and again, and it's a little bit flirtatious, and we want, the audience, they think like, I've seen this, this is a
Yeah,
love story. Oh,
right.
it's like
Are they going to
romantic.
get together, right? Are they going to eventually get
Yeah,
together?
like
Right, right, yeah,
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 it's that scene, when I started to smile when I get gas in the car, and so people think like, oh, it's a love story. I get it, and then she comes to the apartment and start dancing with me.
yeah,
I'm not, maybe I'm not spoiling the film, but too much, but I can say a little bit. And then suddenly she shoots me. What? She shoots.
yeah.
What have happened?
Right out of, like they say, right out of left field, so unexpectedly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You saw the movie in
Yeah,
Stockholm,
I didn't expect it. It's
theater.
like, what? Is
Yeah.
that nice girl did that to him? Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. It's very like, so we wanted to catch the audience,
I think you did.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was a great hook to get the audience fully involved in it. Yeah, I know I got fully involved in it. Yeah,
yes, yes, and
yeah.
yeah, and that was, so then what happens is, like, we get to see about what is this obsession about,
Mhm.
and what is going to happen, and what really happened those times they met, and
Yeah, yeah.
who has followed who, and who is really the bad guy, and
Right,
are
right,
you,
right,
and
right.
are you better for you doing something worse later on to the guy who obsessed you. And we take this question about you know the relationship they have, and put them to the end, like what is going to happen if we
Mhm.
test this situation. We wanted to work that out a little bit spontaneously during the set, and it was a fun process, and
Mhm. Mhm.
we got
Mhm.
the short film as a short film for the
Yeah,
first time,
yeah,
and we wanted to
yeah.
try it out, and it was fun.
Yeah. So, at a lot of different points in your film, the different scenes, a lot of that was improvisation, to try to
Yeah,
experiment to
some of it
see.
was, yeah,
Oh, wow.
some of it
Oh,
was, so we planned the most, but no, and one thing actually was, we had no lines, but before we wanted to have some lines and some, but but it ended up having no lines.
Oh,
So it was a
wow.
quiet movie
Wow.
actually,
Wow.
and that's
So,
very
so then, so then each of you had an idea of where the storyline was going, and then maybe if you had like multiple takes of a scene, like the lines wouldn't exactly be the same each time, but you sort of followed the same like thought pattern to get to where you wanted to go in the scene, right?
yeah,
Since you were
yeah, exactly.
ad-libbing
Mm,
to get to the
precisely,
same
precisely.
sort of to get to the same endpoint in the scene. Uh, uh, it sounded like each of you had like the basic idea of what you had to say to each other, but the words might have changed a little bit, maybe in each different take, but uh, you all had a definite goal of where the scene was going to end then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We had the end point,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
in
yeah.
the middle, we wanted it to stay a little bit open during
Mm-hmm,
the process
mm-hmm,
because we
mm-hmm.
noticed some things and yeah, what suited
Right,
better.
right.
So
Yeah,
precisely.
I know. I interviewed, like I says, I interviewed Alina separately from you on my on the fly interview, and before I interviewed her, I did not realize that it's like she's still in school. I thought that she was like a professional actress and had been doing this for a few years, but she was like in school in Sweden, like equivalent to our high school in the US, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she wasn't at the university level, right? She was
No.
uh, like high school, like the lower grades.
Yeah, yeah. So she took high school degree this summer. So it was the last year of Swedish high school, and
Oh, okay.
we graduate 1 year later and in the States. So
Okay. Yeah.
she was when you met her, she was 18, and
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. She is a very good actress.
I,
So
I
I
I
understand
was
that part.
just amazed. Like I says, I hadn't realized that, she was still like in high school. And yeah,
Mm.
it's like the level of her acting is like right up there. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. I agree, agree. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
it must be a pleasure to act with someone like that who acts like they're an older person but is so young, right? I mean,
Yeah, you get a real point there because when you act with somebody who is uh, acting as they are have been with have experienced more in their life, it really is. And I and Alina never met before
uh-huh,
the filming, and our connection during the set during the movie was very good, and we could work directly, and we understood each other, and it was very, very, very interesting to work with her, and very easy. So a lot of people in that age isn't isn't that mature in directing. So I really agree with you, for sure, for sure.
right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I totally agree that a lot of kids that age uh, don't have the maturity to do. I mean, especially what she did in a film, where it's for the public, and to come across so mature like that. Like I said, it was I mean, yeah, she's quite talented, and I'd have to say advanced in her years, beyond her, beyond her young age. And uh I don't know. I see nothing but great things for her in the future, and I assume you feel the same way.
I agree totally.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And
Yes,
that
very much.
I guess that's uh I guess that's like they say, a feather in the cap of the school for producing such a talent, right? I mean, the the school where she attends has to have a very good program in order to like produce a young talent like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, she has to have the, the talent, like the raw talent inside her, but like the school has to nurture it and cultivate it, and like they were saying, uh, to cut to cut the diamond into a gem, right? The raw material is there, but then they work with it to make her,
Yeah.
the best that she
And she
can.
went to high school in Stockholm. That's name is Södra Latin, and it's a very big school in Stockholm that is known for its music program and its theater program, and
Oh,
it's
okay,
high school level. And she went there, and I
okay.
know it's very very good. And I know I met other actors who went there as well, and it's
Oh,
very good
okay,
education for people
okay,
who
okay.
has it, and she has it inside of herself as well. So it's a very good combination,
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
say.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's what I.
good school for sure.
Right, right. Yeah, she has the raw talent, and it just has to be honed to produce to be the best that she can be at her performing career. And
Yeah, and that's the thing, because when you cast people in the casting process, it's a lot. There are you put out an ad, and there are you know up to 50 persons emailing you, and you have very many profiles, and you look at other profiles as well, because you want to actor or actress who suit the role, and it's very many people, and to find the one for the role, you have to look at very many show reels, and you have to feel a bit, and we are very proud that we actually, it's hard, but we're very proud of that we get the right one for this
oh yeah,
role. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, and you did get the right cast for that in order to be screened at a film festival, so that was a good reflection on your part for that film to be included in film festivals. And another film I was going to mention besides Obsession, another film that you produced and starred in. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I pronouncing this right? Uh, the Gur the Gurga or the Gurja?
De giriga.
Boy, that came out completely different than.
Well, it's Swedish. It's Swedish, you
Oh,
have to you
okay.
have to train on your Swedish.
My Swedish right now is I know how to say thank you, tack, right? Tack,
Tack, tack,
tack.
tack.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So I'm building up from tack. Okay, so I'll
that's
say
good. That's a good
I'll
start.
yeah. But yeah, in fact, while I was in Stockholm last year, every time I wanted to learn to say a word, I'd Google it and then I'd write it down. And I'd Google a few more words and write those down. So, like, if I had to go like into a store or buy something, I'd start talking, a little bit in Swedish, a word here, a word there. And so, since the store clerk heard me talk, a little Swedish, they assumed that I could speak fluent Swedish. So after I would get done talking at the counter, they would start talking in Swedish. Just like if I spoke the language, and I says, oh no no no. I says, I'm sorry. I says, I'm learning bits and pieces at a time. I'm starting with talk and I'm building my way up like that. So I had to remind them every time, because they assumed that I knew how to speak it since I knew what maybe 5 words at the time. But
Yeah, and that's actually a hard way of, when you want to learn a new language and you go to a country, you want to speak that language all the time in that country, but
oh
you
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
you can't say all the words yet. So the other person in the other country knows English. The most people do, but some countries are bad at English, but mostly they do. So they turn to English instead, and you are
yeah.
not there to practice your English. You're there to practice your French or Spanish or Swedish or
That's
whatever it
right.
is. And
That's
then
right.
you don't learn it, because they want to have easy conversation, and I think they want to make it easy for you as well. I have heard the same thing. My brother is living in Canada, in Montreal, and they talk French in Quebec, and when they understand most of French, but when they talk French, the other people, like, after a few sentences, go to English because it's easier to communicate in English with them. And then then the French, it's harder to do it. So you really have to pretend you are, maybe.
Right.
But
That's right. That's
I think
right.
the persons
That's
on the
right.
street maybe get
Yeah.
impressed of
Yeah.
your Swedish words either way. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that film was
Yes, the
screened.
greedy in English, the greedy.
Oh, The Greedy. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. See, now when I saw that word, I was pronounced because I know a long time ago I took like Spanish, so or like Italian. I'm like half Italian, so I was trying to pronounce it like it was either a Spanish or an Italian word, like de de Guriga or de Gurija. So I won't attempt to say that in Swedish. I know that I'll never make it if I try to say it in Swedish now, but uh, um, but anyway, that film was in February 2022, like a year before Obsession at the North Film Festival. So, can you tell us what that was about and what your role in it was?
Yes, yes. So the greedy was a very big movie. It was like the biggest project that we have done in our whole life, and still is, because so after high school graduation, we all four in Nallebrun, that is best friend, went to different places in Sweden, except one of them who is 1 year younger than us, stayed in Strängnäs. But what happened was COVID, 2020 Mars. COVID happened, and even that we in Sweden have had very good regulations, that was not so bad. We didn't have closing society at all. But most of the schools, though, have, when you lived at the school, sent home the
Yeah,
students.
yeah,
So I was one of them, and my friends was another of them. So we all, somehow, because of COVID that happened, get back to our parents' home, and lived again as we were doing during high school, or middle school, or as we were growing up. And then we, it was less study. We lived together, and then we got like 6 summer of summer holiday together from nothing, and it
yeah.
was amazing. We had so much great time, and parties, and but not so many parties that infected people, just with a few people, yes,
Yeah.
and not the
I,
COVID. I'm not
I
Boris
I
Johnson.
was going to have you clarify that when you got the party. I wanted you to
Yeah.
explain that. Okay, okay.
Small parties, that was just with friends,
Small,
not Boris
not
Johnson.
but small party. Okay.
Small. Yeah. But it was amazing half of a year that we get together. um, and what happened was that we spent so much time together, and we started about thinking about next movie, and we thought, because we knew before that we wanted to do a movie that summer, but now we have time, we're here,
Right.
and it's March, now it's April, and our goal was to do a summer movie, because we've always done movies in the spring before, because a movie competition that we always participated in, you have to send it in before 1st of May before. So now we want to do a long movie, we want to do a movie in the summer, and we are here, and we also wanted to celebrate our surroundings that we have grown up in beautiful Sörmland, that is a landscape, or state, as you say in
Mhm.
states, the state that we were growing up in, and the landscape outside our hometown Strängnäs that we've been so much in, because my best friends grandmother lived there, and camps have been there, and it's a beautiful church, and everything. So we wanted to celebrate that area and the little stories that and the events that can happen there. So we know people there, and you know we the biggest farm in Sweden. No, not in Sweden, in Strängnäs. We actually get to rent for free to for one of the locations that
Oh,
was the
wow.
main location of the movie, and they were very nice to us,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
we get to rent that house.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
story actually was starting to create during the spring until the summer and come up, and it begin with we want to celebrate our
Mhm,
beautiful
mhm,
nature and what we
mhm.
and we want to show the world, and that's what we did in Barcelona. So many people came up to us and said like, Sweden, Sörmland, wow, what a place. Well, that's so beautiful because it's
Yeah.
very original and something else that you don't see so much. And so the story creates it as well. We wanted to do a film about greedy, the feeling of greedy and greedy people. What happens when two sons uh, buy their own? The father recently died. The mother died when they were 10. And when the father died, he has put something else, in his last will, that one of the brother will get, you know, at the farm and most of the monies, because we have a law in Sweden that half of half, the child always have to have, even if you don't write them in, but as laglott, as we call in Sweden. But
Okay.
and we
Mhm.
wanted to see what can happen in a fictional little village that is placed outside our hometown. If this happened to two brothers, they are by themselves, what happens in what can happen in a village, and we wanted to explore, you know uh,
Mhm,
greediness,
mhm.
that thematic, and from there, the story began,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
absurd of a movie, a little bit artsy, and yeah, it was amazing project. We did it for 10 days, like pam, 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 and
Yeah, I was
our
just
best friends was helping us with all the stuff, and it was
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was just going to ask you how long your shooting schedule was. So it was 10 days from beginning to end, and you had it all wrapped up in 10 days?
Yeah, so we
Oh,
have
wow.
everything wrapped up in 10 days, and because
Wow, wow, wow.
we rent a camera, and the camera is the most expensive.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
You have to have,
yeah.
and we
But
did.
you said the venue that where you were filming that was provided for you at no cost, right?
Yes, yes.
You
So
said okay.
we actually didn't pay for any venue because we have so good context there, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. Well,
so
that must have been a big relief for you. Well, it's challenging, like in making any film, to find like just the right like the right location that you have envisioned in your mind, and to actually see the actual location to see if it matches what your thoughts are. But
yeah,
yeah.
and that's the thing, Edward. Because we always begin with the environment, and then the story comes, because
Hmm.
that's what we get inspired from. So we started with the environment and the specific
Hmm.
places that
Hmm.
we know,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and that's what the story
Yeah.
created
Yeah,
from.
that must have been a big relief for you to, like I said, been provided that venue, because then, well, I imagine it kind of freed up your mind to think about the artistic process instead of having to worry about, I have an idea of what I want to do, but now I have to, be concerned with the challenges of like finding a place and funding the place. So that probably kind of freed up your mind to be more on the creative side instead of having to kind of split your thoughts between the creative and the business side, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
precisely, and that helps a lot,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
we
Well,
we
yeah,
got
and
it was very nice because we got very good for this project. It's a very very low budget, and people in Barcelona, when we showed the movie, and in Stockholm Film Festival 2022 when it premiered, very many people said and write to us like it's surprisingly that you had so low budget for this like future film that looks so beautiful. And
Right,
it's
right.
because all the community and the friends helped. Everybody did this for free, and we get fundings from our hometown and our like region. And the funding was like half the budget, and the half the budget was from our own pockets. So it's really
Yeah,
project that we really cared about. And
right,
but
right.
it was enough, it was enough because and it was a hard product, as you say.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I know in independent filmmaking like you were mentioning about being independently funded. Yeah, most times that's the case that it's funded from the pocket of the filmmaker, and then maybe somewhere along the way they try to get, in addition to that, funding from one of those online funding sources or services. But yeah, no, and then independent filmmaking, it's rewarding, but it's challenging as far as the funding part goes. Yeah, and
For sure, but we have pretty good, if you stay if you do movies in the different regions, we have pretty good fundings for people with good
yeah,
ideas.
yeah. Well, yeah,
So they find good ideas, so
it's good that you
have
have
to.
friends and connections like that to make the process a little bit smoother, more smooth
Yeah, yeah.
and easier. So, like I said, you can concentrate on the artistic part without having to be distracted by all the other business decisions that you would have had to make if you had to take care of that, all yourself.
Yeah, and it was nice that we can do the business stuff before, because it's very we have very good film funding
Hmm.
in Sweden mostly. And that was precisely very very good that we get like half of our budget from our town,
Wow,
officially
that's
from our
good.
town,
That's good.
from our
Half of
and
it
our
from the top.
region.
Wow.
So the region and the town together paid for half the movie, and they do that funding to good ideas and to good movies, because they
Yeah.
want to promote local filmmakers
Right. Right. Right.
around in Sweden. So it's very
Right.
good, yeah.
Right. So if you, whenever you have a project that you want to focus in a particular region, uh, probably they'll come forward again and help you in the same way, right? To kind of attract you to keep coming back to making your films and like advertising for the region where you're filming.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, another another project that you were involved in, but this time it was a play, and it was in May 2021, and it was called "Now I'm Good Again." And what exactly was that play about, and what type of character did you play?
So there was a play called Now I'm God Again. So I guess it's the translation that gets quite it wrong, but it's God. And
Oh, okay, okay.
it's a play that I did at my last theater school in Skara. Skara Skolscen is a very good school. And it was the first semester when you did scenes like 50 minutes plays with you were two people, two and twos, and I was with another person called Milda, and we were doing this, and it was a play about actually two 11-year-old. One is the rough boy in the school, and the other one is a good girl,
Uh-huh.
and they meet, and they never have something particular in common, except now both of them happen to be outside of classroom for some reason, and they start to sort it out, and they have this intention against each other, that they are a little bit of, enemies, somehow. She thinks he is very annoying because he's the bad boy who always, annoys people and screams, and he thinks she's annoying because she's the good girl who always do everything right. And they start talking, and there's a bit of fighting and, arguing about things. But then suddenly something happens, and the thing that happens is that they started, you know talking about God. She started asking him about God, and and you know and he was like, "Oh, you know but 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 he is serious. He has answered. But so he actually answered the question. And then, everything else between them, like, you know threw away, and they have a connection, and they for a moment talk about, God, and what is God, and they're 11-year-olds, and like,
Oh,
what is religion, and, these deep questions. And suddenly they you get out from it that both of these two person who is come from very different backgrounds, think about the same things, and then they realize we are more close than we
yeah,
actually thought we
yeah,
were. And
yeah,
then, it ends very beautifully,
yeah.
when, in a little
So,
bit funny way, because it ends with, they say something that you can take it as like, I
mhm,
will miss you. But
mhm.
then they have to go back to the persons they were before, and be like, dismissive, and a little bit arguing, like,
Oh, okay,
and then
okay.
goodbye. But
Yeah,
the
yeah,
audience, they met.
yeah.
And it was, during a class, both get sent out for some reason, and they sort that out. And it's a
Hmm.
very beautiful two-person scene, actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
So
that's what
the
it is.
whole play is just centered around these two people, and that's the entire cast, just the
Yeah.
boy and the
Yes.
girl.
The boy and the girl only, yes.
Okay. That
Like,
that
in the school.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like a very intense interaction. I mean, there's like a lot of artistic energy going back and forth there, right? Well, just the two of them having to hold up the entire scene just themselves. So they had to be pretty well into it, right? To keep
Exactly.
like the audience's attention.
Yeah, and you have to. We had a very good director, Björn, and you have to work very carefully and
Hmm.
deeply on that scene to get that, to sort that out.
Oh, right, 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 right.
You have to
So
get you have to get it right when it's more intense and it's more slow, and you get,
yeah, 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 yeah. So,
and when that are in the scene, and it's very, it's
oh
very strong.
yeah, yeah.
So
So basically that play was to show that there's more that that binds us than separates us. That basically we're like all on the same wavelength, and we have like all the same interests, but those interests aren't evident when we go back into the real world, like you were mentioning. Then they go back to the classroom, and then they assume the behavior that they did before, that they were so closely like
like,
engaged with each other.
because they can't show these sides, to the other kids, because
Oh
they think
no,
that they will think, that they are like, what are this, like, this side of them, they
yeah,
keep as a secret, kind of, because,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
that will not get them popular as they think,
Right,
if,
right, right,
everybody,
right.
gets that.
Yeah.
And the relationship between that two persons
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
very, like, what if someone sees it. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
um,
Well, I
it's
guess
a good point that
yeah.
play does, that we have more in common than not, as you
Right,
said.
right, right. And yeah, I guess that it was like a good medium to show that like two people can have that connection, not necessarily. engaging in that way all the time, but that they do know mentally that each one of them are like on the same mental page. Even though they can't act that way, like you were saying, when they go back in public and go back into the classroom, among all their other friends. So yeah, but no, that's a nice storyline there. I don't know if I've ever seen anything or heard of any story like that, but yeah, it sounds uh,
Yeah, it's a
like
beautiful story.
yeah,
It's a
it
beautiful
sounds like
story.
a
It
play
really,
that
it really is. It
that
really is.
a lot of people would want to keep going to just to keep enjoying it over and over again. Like a lot of people, they'll go to movies and they might have seen a movie 10 times, but it's like they just can't get enough, right? They love the
Yeah,
storyline so much that it's like, well, it doesn't matter to me. I know how the story comes out, and they probably can recite all the lines of each character, but they just love it so much that they keep going back for more, and
yeah.
probably
And
that's same.
sometimes
Yeah.
people can't, articulate precisely what it is with the movie that you see over and over and over again. And that's the beautiful part of it, because it's something. It's something that
Mm-hmm.
gets to you
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
resonate with all of you, and you can't explain it, but you want to see it again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's when movies are at the best.
Yeah.
But did you saw the Greedy in Barcelona, or maybe you missed it in Barcelona at the Lemon
I
House?
think that I missed that one in Barcelona, the Greedy. I think I missed that
Ah,
one. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, was that towards like the beginning of the festival or towards the end of the festival? When was
It
that
was
screening?
Wednesday, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
So pretty in the beginning, but the second day,
Okay, okay.
Lemon
Because
House.
I think the film that I was in by Ella Muscroft by the Loud Voices, Silent Streets, there it was entirely filmed on Zoom and put together to make it look like we were all in the same place. It was called After Mum. Um, I think that was screened. I'd have to say Tuesday or Wednesday. I know it wasn't very far into the festival. It was like in the beginning of the first few days of the festival. And well, since we're talking now about stage, like your stage work, and then we've talked about uh, your film work before. Um, like projects that you're currently involved in, um, are more of your projects in film or are they on stage? How does that proportion?
So the last summer, I actually worked at a castle in southeast of Sweden, in a very wonderful town called Kalmar, which is a historic town as well. And I worked at the castle with theater for the whole summer, and it was amazing summer to get along. And some days there was 3,000 tourists coming. It was so many tourists from
Oh,
Germany and
wow.
the Netherlands, Belgium, and Denmark, and all of Sweden. And very many kids
Hmm.
coming from the place, and it's one of the best preserved castles in the world, actually. And so this that summer was a really theater summer, but then it's more about films for the last years, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah,
like more recently, you've been concentrating more on films than on theater, then.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do
How
you?
about you?
Uh, I uh, I usually it's sort of like a mix between like film, I've done a lot of like online plays, like online live like Zoom theater. But
You have.
yeah, yeah, it's they've been like on online events where they actually have ticket sales, and like in the Zoom chat, you can see like you can actually see the names of the people that are attending online. You know, it's sort of like comparing to like when you're at a real theater and you peek through the curtain before the show opens, you know, something like
Yeah.
that. So you can actually see in the chat, in the Zoom chat, how many people are attending, you know, whether you got like a full house. I don't know how you can have a full house online, but you know, if there is such a thing. But um,
But tell me about, you know, what it is, like Zoom theater, like what you do, what's happening.
oh, it's just, I mean, it's just like a play, like a regular play that's like on stage, only it's live, and it's on Zoom, and it's treated every way the same as the play is. Only you're acting on this Zoom screen, and everybody, like, say if there's a cast of 10 people, you have 10 of these Zoom squares on the screen, and like when you change scenes, you turn your camera off if you're not in the scene, and other people do the same thing if they're not in a scene. So it's like these squares here, they're always appearing and disappearing depending on who's in, you know, like different acts. So I mean, it's very streamlined. It works very well. Like
Okay.
if
And you are you are directing it.
Well, you're sort of directing yourself because you have control of your own camera, your own audio, and
Oh, so
you
you act in it.
oh yeah, oh yeah. That's just like now, like if this was live Zoom theater and like this is a scene and you or I are in it, well,
Mm.
say like if this is scene one and then scene two after this and I'm not in it, I would shut my camera off, so that would put me off stage, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very
And yeah,
interesting.
it works out really well. I mean, it's very streamlined, and like in the theater, you know, when a stage play is over, everybody comes out and does a curtain call and bows and everything. Well, in live Zoom theater, at the end of the play, everybody turns their cameras on, and you have a whole computer screen all full of squares with everybody like taking a bow, or like we'll each say our names and the role that we played, and no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
But you know, so is it like the play? Is it about as like the actors are on Zoom, and are the story in Zoom as well? Like the story is in like these persons are talking in Zoom. It's like a gathering of a community,
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
family who has to plan their weekend, but they're all in different places, and that's
Oh
why they
yeah,
get
yeah.
together in Zoom,
I've
and that's what
been,
the play is about, right?
yeah, I've been in Zoom. Well, it can be one time, I don't know, not recently, but like within the last year, I was in like a Sherlock Holmes murder mystery. It was called the Musgrave Principle, the Musgrave Ritual, and it was entirely done on Zoom with virtual backgrounds. Like if everyone is in the same scene, everybody has the same virtual background. If you switch from one virtual location to another, then for the next scene, you have to change your virtual background so that it appears that like if you're in a city, you have a different background for different streets, and it's like the sky's the limit for the possibilities for that. They even have this one feature on Zoom, a new version of Zoom where they call it immersive backgrounds. And what the director of the Zoom play can do is they can take your figure, and on the same screen they can move the figures around to make it look like both people are in the same room. It's gotten that advanced.
Oh,
And
so some scenes are supposed to, you know, be in the same room. So it's not like Zoom plays. It's plays about people, you know. in the same room, getting
Right,
together,
right.
talking as well.
And they're
Okay, then I get it.
yeah, and they use it for all different kind of stories like Sherlock Holmes, murder mysteries, and
That would be interesting to see, the Sherlock Holmes. That would
well,
be interesting to see how you get that figure out.
I have a link to it. I can send you the link if you want to see the
Yeah,
film.
yes, please.
I'll
Yes,
put
please.
it
That
in
would be
the
amazing.
I'll send it to you, and it's called the Musgrave Ritual, and it's been nominated for different film festivals, and I think all the proceeds for that go to this go to charity. So it's all done for charity. So, but yeah, yeah, I'll send that link to you in the chat thereafter, and everybody out there in Zoom land. I've got links to it, and among all my other posts on my Instagram page, search for the Musgrave ritual, and you can see the Zoom there. So yeah, it it was absolutely awesome to be in something like that, and yeah, yeah, and so it's
Amazing.
amazing how they can
Yeah.
move our figures around like on the same screen. It's absolutely fabulous. So, but uh,
Yeah, well, it's a good alternative,
oh
to
yeah,
work out place when COVID hits.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah,
or
that's
another pandemic.
yeah, that's primarily the reason that all of this Zoom plays and Zoom theater and Zoom film came about because everybody was separated by COVID, and that was the only way for all of us to gather as an artistic community to keep
Mm.
working our craft. And in fact, matter of fact, that was the reason why that one film that I was in that was screened at Barcelona last year, After Mum, by Loud Voices, Silent Streets.
Yes, I think
Ella Muscroft created that, I think in like early in 2020, just at the advent of the pandemic, and she created that to have an avenue for all of us creative people to keep creating. So, and it's still going on today. She's still doing like actual on location films, readings, monologues, Zoom films. So yeah, and but getting back to your question at the beginning, what I'm doing now, I'm getting more into filming now than the plays. It seems like the filming roles are coming more that way for me. So, I mean, really anything that comes along, whether it's online film or actual on location film, um, online live theater, or like even voiceovers. I've done voiceovers for like audiobooks and audio drama, and yeah, uh,
that's amazing,
I'm game for anything.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
So talking about games, that's a
Yes.
that's a perfect segue into my last question for you. Games. I see that you are into a lot of our outdoor activities. I've seen posts that shows you hiking and swimming and going to events like football. And you were talking to me before we went on here on the air, so to speak. Your love for football, gathering together with friends, playing a pickup game of football or whatnot. So, among all those different activities, hiking, swimming, football, what's your favorite? And and I've got to ask you, who's your favorite football team? I
Well, it's a good question.
don't want to put you on the spot, but I just had to ask you since you're a football fan, you know.
Well, of course. So my favorite outdoor activities, I think, that's a lot of it because I really like to spend time outside because that's where you live, You really feel like living, and you can breathe fresh air and be in the nature. And I have grown up in an area that we have very beautiful nature, as I mentioned before,
Yeah, yeah,
nearby, as you can go walks, and it's a football field, you know 15 meters from my house that I have grown up in.
Wow, that's
And
close. Yeah,
so I really grow up outside, and it's amazing. My dad
yeah.
always go, barefoot all summers, and I do too, So I love it all. But some favorites that I've picked up during the years, I have to say, is surfing, as I
Oh,
did actually in Norway, in one,
you probably
but
had to
not in
wear a
Lakesand, but
wetsuit, didn't you? Isn't it cold there to surf in Norway?
yeah. So you have the suit, you have the suit on, and we did it during the summer in the surf camp there in Huldevik. Me, Eric, and Jacob, you met the guys,
Yeah.
and we surfed for a week and learned it from the ground. And the feeling when you catch a wave, it's very hard to catch a wave for the first. It's not so easy that you
Right,
think
right,
when you
right.
see surf, but when you actually do it, it's it's something else. It's not something that you feel when you are one with nature, and that feeling, you will never forget. So I haven't surfed so much, but when I have had done it,
Uh-huh.
it's blown my mind. So that's one of the thing. And then of course I'm a sport guy. I played football for 10 years, handball for like 8 years, and I really miss playing, the sports, team
Oh
sports.
yeah.
You get in the team and you play, and you have the ball, and
Hmm.
I love it. I love it.
Hmm. Did
So
did you ever play tennis?
yes, so I played tennis for 4 years, and I played tennis against my father very often because he played tennis every Monday at the same
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So he always wanted to. When I come home, he's like, "Tennis, Sass, do you want to play tennis?" Like, yeah, yeah. And I haven't beaten yet though.
I
I'm
was
like
going to I was going to say, do you let him win?
he's actually quite better than me still because he's 60, but he's very, very good at tennis,
Oh,
and he's
okay.
very good
Okay.
shape as well. So, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
uh,
I like to play tennis too. I haven't played it in years. I played it when I was younger, but my mother, she was a good very very good tennis player. So I guess I sort of got it from her, the tennis enthusiasm, but yeah, I love to play tennis. I love to
yeah,
play
it's like
tennis.
it's a good sport to get
Yeah.
your whole body moving
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in in a way that you get exhausted in a nice way
Yeah.
after.
And
So
in fact, um, did you want to see? I can get it right now. I'll be gone like 1.5 seconds. Do you want to see my mother's original tennis racket from the 1930s?
yes,
Yes,
please.
everybody, I'll be right back.
Mm.
Like they say, talk amongst yourselves while I'm getting the tennis racket here.
There we have it.
Okay,
This
here,
that's the original tennis racket from the 1950s.
no, 1930s,
Now the 30s.
right
You
here.
kidding me?
It's an
Oh
all wooden
wow.
it's an all wooden tennis racket, and this has the original cat gut they used to use for strings. Of course, it's all worn out by now, but this is the very tennis racket that she used to use, and I
Yeah.
also used many years later. So I used the same tennis racket that she did when she used to play tennis in the 1930s.
Oh man, that's
And it's not
amazing.
it as you can see, it's not warped. I kept it like in one of those sets that you
Mm,
screw to the head here, and it
mm.
kept everything straight. It's not warped. It's just as straight as it was when she played it. The wood didn't curve or anything. So that's
Yeah, and I see it's in wood as well, and
oh yeah.
the wooden rackets is very cool. I think it's more beautiful than the rackets we have today.
Oh
And
yeah.
maybe not so functional, but it's beautiful.
And you know one thing that I noticed, this racket compared to the tennis rackets of today, the head of it is a lot small. Not a lot, but it's smaller than the modern day tennis rackets, right? It's not so
Mhm.
big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, yeah, because the
It's like
ones today they're like out here and they're probably longer. But this one, yeah,
exactly. If you
I
take one of these and you play against some person and you win, you're really good
that's
because it's lesser of an area to get to
that's
the ball.
right.
So
Well, in fact, little known fact, a long time ago, I used to play with a cousin of mine, and she's 9 years older than I was. So she knew that I liked to play tennis, and she was an avid tennis player back in the day. So she offered to teach me tennis, and so I says, yeah. My mom played tennis, and I says, yeah. I says, go ahead. Well, so we went around to the different tennis courts, and so this one summer we like played all summer. When you could get a court, because this was like during the time when tennis was really popular in the U.S. and it's like you couldn't find an open tennis court. They were all busy. So that entire summer we played as much as we could. And so after the summer ended, we were together one time at a family event, and so we were kind of talking about what we did during the summer. And
mhm.
she says to me, she says, I taught you tennis. She says, you beat me 40 straight times. I says, I was just having fun. I said, I was just having fun, and yeah,
Well,
I
that,
love
yeah.
tennis so much, and but like I says, I haven't played in years, so but
But it is a very smart game as well because you really have to think when playing
oh yeah,
how to act and how to put a ball in, and it's a very smart way of exercising, I think. And my
right,
dad
right,
always said that
right.
it's so
Well,
boring
yeah, I
to
mean,
run, and he always want to play the tennis, and you always have the direct competition is very exciting in tennis.
oh, it is,
So,
and that's tennis is a game where you can play no matter how old you are. You could be, from when you're a child all the way up until well, like you were saying, your father is still good and proficient at it. So I imagine there's people that are a lot older than your father and are still playing. So yeah, it's
yeah.
something that you can enjoy for the rest of your life. You can all
Yes.
yeah, you can always play it. Yeah. So
True, we have a former king in Sweden
y-
that was our king during the World War I and World War II. He was
yes.
king for 42 years, the femte, Gustav the Fifth, and he is our current king's grandfather's grandfather, and he played tennis. He was called the tennis king because he played tennis all his life until the end, and he was very old, when he played tennis, in the 80s and everything when he was more than 80 years old.
Oh
And really
wow.
enjoying it. So
Yeah.
so so tennis
Yeah.
is really a game
Yeah.
and sport for everybody, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I enjoy it, like even though that I haven't played it. I mean, I love to watch it, whether there's like televised like Wimbledon or the French Open or anything like that. Yeah, I always enjoyed playing it
Yeah, 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 for sure.
and then
Sorry.
watching it.
And
Yeah.
sorry, I have to correct myself. It's the current king's grandfather's father, but uh,
Oh,
just a
okay,
detail.
okay.
But yes, I agree.
Okay.
Amazing sport.
Yeah.
Amazing sport. Really.
And one day you'll beat your father, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I can think about that day. I will be happy.
But
For sure, I will be
just
happy.
keep reminding him that one day you will beat him. It's just a matter of time until you do. That's all. So
Hopefully.
yeah. Well, Sass, I've really enjoyed talking with you on my talk show. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been not quite, but it will be a whole year since we've seen each other. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure and honor. And thank you very much for being on my show today.
Thank you so much, Edward, for
Yeah, yeah.
inviting me and talking to me.
So
And
yeah,
it was very
so
nice to see you again and to talk.
yeah,
It really was, really was.
yeah, and
Thank you so much.
nice, nice to get together and telling about old stories and finding out more about each other and sharing each of our past and whatever to the audience out there. I'm sure they had as much fun listening to us as we had as much fun talking with each other.
Yeah,
So
I hope so.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So until the next time we see each other, the next film festival, uh, like will you be going to Barcelona?
No, I'm not going to Barcelona this year. But I remember when we took the bus we get like outside, 2 hour outside in Catalonia, out 2 hours outside of Barcelona to get to the gala night, and you
Oh
were and I
yes,
was
oh
each
yeah.
other in when we're going back, and it was so good, so good party, and the excitement and all the prizes, and we have won best photo, and everything that happened, everybody's cool. So I think that we should have stayed at the place and partied there and celebrated all the amazing filmmakers there.
There you
Instead, we
go.
have to go back to Barcelona in the bus, and then everybody slept on the bus, me as well, as I was sitting next to you, and
Yeah,
we'll get back to Barcelona to the hotel that you and very many people was
yeah,
living in,
yeah,
the
yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
hotel.
yeah.
And everybody was exhausted and so tired, like,
I
we
know
have
it.
to go to sleep now. And the party feeling was like, because we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
stay
yeah,
there at the gala night as we
yeah,
should have
yeah.
had, I think, but it was amazing gala night. So
I know it. I know
I
it. It was an amazing
whole
night, and
Barcelona Love and Hope Festival was on
it
top.
was, it was, yeah, and yeah, it's like we all made so many new friends, like we met each other, and I met all of your filmmaker fellow filmmakers for your movie there, and yeah, when we got on the bus, uh, yeah, it's like everybody felt like partying, but like you said, after a while, everybody was just like so exhausted that it's like we all slept on the way back to the hotel.
you
But
know it's all the food they gave us, and all the Catalonian cava, and all the
it
wine. It
just
was so very funny. You drink wine, you take one sip, and the waiter or the waitress just arrived directly, like, and hold up the glass to the top all the
I
time.
know.
You didn't have to say anything, so it seemed like to you that you haven't. Oh, I haven't drank any wine. Okay. And then more. Oh, I haven't drank any. And then you just
Yeah,
drink and drink. So
it's like
everybody drinks so much that
yeah,
night.
it's like why can't I finish this wine? I keep drinking it, but it doesn't go down any. How
No,
come it keeps
like,
staying up there?
what?
And then you get up there to the
And then it
table.
was that for everybody. So everybody was very had a few drinks, as you
Yeah,
say.
yeah, 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 a few drinks. Yeah, but yeah. Well, like I says, I've had an absolute ball talking to you today, Sass, and I wish nothing but great, big, and better things for you and your filmmaking and stage career and producing career and tennis career with your father, beating your father someday. So yeah, everybody, my name is Edward S. Redcar, and I'm the host of Edward S. Redcar's Entertainer Chat. Today, I've had the absolute pleasure of talking with Sass Wolgers, filmmaker, actor, footballer, hiker, swimmer, you name it, he does it. Tennis player, you name it, he does it. And until the next time that we all meet each other again here on my show, stay tuned for this interview when I upload it to YouTube. And so everyone have a good day. So long, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you so much.